Hey there, I'm Tara Spencer, coming to you from Windsor, Nova Scotia, which is an hour outside of Halifax, which makes it an hour outside of Dalhousie University. And I wish we could be together for this concert tonight, for this class, but we're doing our best given that Nova Scotia is in lockdown right now. I'm happy to have the chance to play for you anyway. So I'm going to play you a couple of songs tonight. I've been writing songs since about 2014 when I began performing as a musician, as a backup singer for a country artist that I think you will be hearing from as part of this concert series as the weeks go on. His name is Ryan Cook, a fellow Nova Scotian. And Ryan, I have to thank for getting me into performing music. So since I started writing songs, I've made 2 albums and played lots of solo shows. And I'm happy to share some of those songs with you tonight. So I'm going to kick off with a song that was written in my bed and recorded in my bed, with a video that was also shot in my bed. And if you watch it, you can see it on YouTube, cozy little video. And if you watch it through to the end, you will see a glimpse of my dog Cleo, who is curled up about 4 feet away from me right now, who makes a guest appearance at the very end of it. So this is a little song called Raining on a Saturday. Last night we had plans, but he felt like staying home. So we walked around the water, holding hands and ice cream cones. You were wrapped up in the ball game. I curled up for a nap. My old guitar lay down beside me, my head laid in your lap. And it was a shame we missed the concert, but we didn't miss the date. And now it's raining on a Saturday, and the coffee pot can't wait. Now it's early in the morning, and I wait for you to wake. I listen to you breathe and feel each little move you make. The temperature is perfect, the blankets feel just right. I've got a pencil and some paper, and a tune that came last night, stuck on the fridge out in the kitchen, is a list of things to do. But it's raining on a Saturday, and I'll start my list with you. You fly out on Monday. 2 weeks seem so long, but work will keep you busy, and I'll keep company with songs. The kids will have their business, the dogs will want their walks. You're headed for a hotel in San Diego, with not a lot of time to talk. So we will steal these simple pleasures, 'cause simple can be best. And it's raining on a Saturday, and you don't need your beauty rest. Oh baby, it's raining on a Saturday, and you don't need your beauty rest. So bit about this guitar. This is my favorite guitar, not because it is the world's greatest guitar, or maybe not even the best guitar that I have, but it is my favorite. My granddad bought this guitar from a car dealership here in Windsor a long, long while ago for, I think the asking price was $30. And probably he negotiated that. It was a car dealership. So this is a Suzuki guitar. Suzuki's pretty famous for making violins, especially for learning students. But especially in the 1970s, they made guitars. And the very first guitar that I learned to play on was a steel string acoustic from the 70s era too. But this one is a nylon string. And it has, I think, been through several wars. In particular, someone tried to strip all the finish off this guitar at one point and refinish the back, and didn't really do the slickest job, but there's something about the feel of this guitar. It just is a very comfortable guitar to play. So this is my favorite around the house guitar. I don't take it out playing because it doesn't have any kind of a pickup system, and because I'm afraid it's just going to fall apart in my hands. But for tonight, this one will do the job. So speaking of doing the job, when I am not occupied with being a musician, over the past stretch of time, I have had an alter ego as a funeral director. I started years ago playing the organ at funeral services, and then became a funeral director after some years of picking up odd jobs around the office. So since 2014, when I started performing music, I also have been conducting funeral services. And although I don't write a lot of songs about that chapter of my life, just out of respect for people, it does rub off and influence you in certain ways. And I do have one song that kind of lays out one experience of that life working as a funeral director in a very small little funeral home in the community where I grew up. So this is a song called At Your Service. In the hard gray chairs of the doctor's office, me and a man with a terrible cough. It's 11 a.m., the doctor is late, nothing there to do but wait. He handed me a wrinkly business card, told me of his young years working hard, small engine repair, tractors and mowers, back in the days when the world moved slower. He had loved every minute of the simple life, a lot less simple since he lost his wife. She had died last June, her lungs full of cancer. He took all the tests, he was waiting for answers. His hands were shaking, he looked so nervous as he handed me the card that said, "At your service." At the funeral home, when the paperwork came, I remembered the card and I remembered his name. The obituary short, no next of kin. We only had to print a few bulletins for the half-dozen people that had gathered there, fanning themselves in their hard gray chairs. Workers from the home where the old man lived, sympathy cards with nobody to give. The minister comforted in their loss, and everybody rose for the old rugged cross, carried him down to where the grass was mown, his wife and his son's names carved in stone. As we covered the grave, a shovel of dirt, I remember the card with the words, "At your service." I was singing that song, I had the thought about one more feature of this guitar, which has never had a strap. It doesn't have a pin for a strap on it. But I took it with me to play a song at a graveside funeral service once, and realized when I arrived at the funeral home, which is about half an hour away from here, that I had taken the guitar but no strap and nothing to sit on graveside at the funeral service. So I hunted around the funeral home and found this ribbon that had been tied to a Christmas gift that someone had given my boss who owns the funeral home. So I stole this ribbon as an impromptu strap for the guitar, and it's been there, I'm going to say, for 4 years. That's it. That's the strap. So, yeah, this guitar has a permanent funeral connection, I guess, at this point. So I made a record throughout 2018 with my friend Jake Smith here in Windsor. Kind of made a record in a closet. Before that was what everybody was doing. And it was the first collection of songs that I had written up to that point. And I ended up calling the record Other People's Lives, just to drive home the point that not all the songs on the record were about me and my own life. Because a lot of the songs have a lot of heartache in them. They're about relationships that are not going well or have gone off the rails. And I am married and have been for quite a long time. And it's going really well. So I just thought, you know what, I'm going to lay it out there right on the front of this album that not all these songs are autobiographical. And I think maybe too, because I was listening to a whole lot of country music at the time, courtesy of Ryan Cook, there's an awful lot of heartache in country songs, if you're not aware. So maybe that's where this one comes from. But this is a song from that first record. And if you listen to the recorded version, it's really, but the record was made in a scrappy fashion, deliberately. We had a lot of fun kind of experimenting with things. But this song was recorded here at my house. And if you listen really closely, you can hear one of my dogs make a special guest appearance, providing some backing vocals near the end of the song. We'll see if that happens tonight. This is a song called Everybody Knows. A white picket fence, 3 kids, 2 dogs, 1 car sitting in the yard. Long days of working hard. We pay off our credit card, and nobody asks me why you're never home at dinner time, or why I buy so much wine. They know that we're doing fine. I don't have to wear my shades on rainy days to hide that I've been crying. No dirty laundry on our line, just flowers and a welcome sign. And down at the grocery store, I don't have to ignore the talk wherever I go. I can look them in the eye, 'cause everybody knows. Driving to hockey practice and keeping our act up for the kids. Do all the things we always did before everything hit the skid. I think it's great that you can stay out late with your high school friend. I don't count the nights you spend running round and playing pretend. And when you don't hurry home, I don't worry over things like one night stands. I know that you're a real good man, and that you are in good everybody knows. And when you don't hurry home, I don't worry over things like one night stands. I know that you're a real good man, and that you are in good hands. But if the door is locked and outside there are boxes of your books and clothes, you can ask anybody why, 'cause everybody knows. And the light's on at her place tonight, and everybody knows. I don't know where you're tuning in from tonight, what part of the world. I hadn't traveled to many parts of the world prior to 2019, and now I'm very thankful that I had the chance to travel because I haven't done much traveling since then. But back in 2019, Ryan Cook invited me to go on tour with him. And I had just finished my first album, so it was a great chance to take those songs around and play them in front of new people in new places. But the tour was a very ambitious one for someone who hasn't spent much time away from home, because we spent the month of February in Ontario, which I don't know if I recommend that. If you've been to Ontario in the winter months, it's pretty harsh. And then after that, we moved on to the UK for a month. My dog Cleo, I don't know if you can hear that. My dog Cleo's having a dream. She's barking in her sleep. That's what that sound is in the background. We spent a month in the UK and several weeks in Germany. In the UK, I don't know if you've been to Nova Scotia, but the UK and Nova Scotia have some similarities. And we were in the rural areas, the outskirts of the UK, not like in London. So there were a lot of green fields and sheep pastures and quaint little communities and village halls that we played in. And it was very cozy and very welcoming, very friendly. But then we ventured to Germany and had no idea what to expect. The tour at that part was very unstructured, and we weren't sure even if people in Germany spoke fluent English, so if all of the words in our songs would make sense to anyone. Anyway, there were a lot of question marks, and this is the song that I wrote as we left the UK and landed in Germany. I think seemed very daunting and uncertain. And for those of you, usually we try and cover up what we're doing when we're tuning guitars, or I try and cover it up with talking, but I realized it might be worth noting. So all I've done for this tune is drop down this big E string, tuned it down to a D. So now those two Ds match each other. And I use this tuning a lot, and maybe can talk a little bit about where I first heard it from. But yeah, it's maybe my favorite very simple alternate tuning that I will use for this song, which is named after a tiny little place in the UK called Clayhyden. The wide German highways are straight and severe. The shop clerks are helpful, their English is clear. But I can't help but wonder what I'm doing here. Now I'm hiding the tears I've been fighting. We drive into Frankfurt in search of a bed, and 3 a.m. neon fall into the sidewalk, the crack in their heads, as my mind goes instead to clay hiding. Oh, the sheep safely graze. Oh, in the mid-morning haze. Oh, I am counting the days until I make my way to clay hiding. The warm smell of wood smoke, the breeze gently blows, the footpaths of holly and wild primrose. Now Audubon, Anger, Rammstein radio. With nowhere to go, I go silent. The weeks are too long and the cars are too fast. My wages, my patience, how long will they last? The trains run on time, but too much time has passed since I walked the green pastures of clay hiding. Oh, the sheep safely graze. Oh, in the mid-morning haze. Oh, I am counting the days until I make my way to clay hiding. Safely graze. Oh, in the mid-morning haze. Oh, I am counting the days until I make my way to clay hiding. Till I make my way to clay hiding. Till I make my way to clay hiding. I'm going to play another traveling song, I think, and I'll use another tuning for that one. I'll drop this A string down to a G, see if it makes the trip. Yep. And I'm going to take this D and drop it even farther down to a C. You can hear the little creaks. This is a song that I wrote on a trip also in 2019 when I got to join my daughter and the huge choir of 60-odd kids that she was in, the Annapolis Valley Honor Choir. Took a trip to Portugal and Spain, and I was lucky enough to be a chaperone for that trip and see real oranges on a tree. That was one of my bucket list things. I love oranges. I love the color orange, and I just was really keen to see real oranges on a real orange tree, and it ended up being in Portugal. Beautiful, beautiful place if you ever get the chance to go. So this is a song that's called Saudade, which is a word that kind of can be translated in a bunch of different words about longing or missing someone or that yearning of the heart. And this song was written on a bus, a tour bus in Portugal. Sweet smell of orange trees and coffee, street market leather, under the weather in the Portuguese sun. Blue pattern tiles repeating the days run together. Under the weather, I am missing someone. In the heat of the night, I hear music, it sings in my memory, with the words that I wish I had said when I kissed you goodbye. As the sounds from the street hang between me and sleep, I pretend we can be together under the weather, the red sunset sky. Waves play with each grain of sand on the coast I am counting. Dip my toes in the fountain. We're an ocean apart. In Porto, the city of bridges, I feel disconnected more than I expected. I thought more of my heart. In the heat of the night, I hear music, it sings in my memory, with the words that I wish I had said when I kissed you goodbye. As the sounds from the street hang between me and sleep, I pretend we can be together under the weather and the red sunset sky. In the heat of the night, I hear music, it sings in my memory, with the words that I wish I had said when I kissed you goodbye. As the sounds from the street hang between me and sleep, I pretend we can be together under the weather and the red sunset sky. We can be together under the weather and the red sunset sky. I'm going to switch guitars after explaining this one is my favorite. I'm going to trade for this fellow and give it a quick tune. This is a Yamaha acoustic guitar, a little fresher, a little newer than the other one because it was built in 1981. And has its original electronics in it. You can see these original knobs here. Not very stylish. I think they're kind of cool. So this would have been one of the early pickup systems that was put in an acoustic guitar. And I guess I'm a little partial to Yamaha guitars because my granddad loves them. My granddad always had, still has, a Yamaha acoustic guitar. And I learned to play guitar in secret in his basement when I was a teenager. I would wait till he was away and then dig out his guitars and play them. And we play completely different styles. So you might have noticed I have not had a pick. There's one over there, but I almost never use a guitar pick at all. I finger style pick or a finger pick all the time, and learned it kind of by accident because there is a guitar player named Chet Atkins who was maybe one of the greatest country guitar players of all time. And my granddad idolized him. And so I learned to play guitar by listening to Chet Atkins records, actual LPs. And I would listen to little tiny chunks at a time and try and figure out what he was doing, what he was playing. Because I grew up in the days before YouTube, when you could just watch tutorials and see people's fingers and watch everything they were doing. So you had to use your ears exclusively. And that's how I learned to play guitar. So improperly. So if you see things that look a little bit fishy and you think your teacher, Professor Reach, would correct me, you are right, because I just learned in a ramshackle way. I don't have long nails. You'll see a lot of fingerstyle players, classical players have really sturdy nails to pick with, and I just use my fingers. So anyhow, I'm really drawing into question my credibility to be hosting this show. But so thank you for bearing with me. Now, I write a lot of songs and don't tend to play a whole lot of cover songs, but I am going to, because this was one of the other formative guitar players for me. And it's someone that you'll have the privilege of hearing in this concert series, I think. It is a guitar player, songwriter, performer named Stephen Fearing, who I idolized when I was first learning to play guitar when I was, like 13, 14, 15. I got my hands on a cassette of Stephen Fearing and listened to it until it stretched out and wasn't in tune anymore, trying to learn how to play guitar like him. But this is a pretty simple song out of Stephen's catalog. I'm not going to pull out any fancy tricks. I'll let him teach you those. But I love this song. It's one of the first songs that I learned to play when I was growing up. It's called Dog on a Chain. My poor secret shadow, how long have you walked, obscured in the dark of my shade? You were born right behind me, like a dog on a chain, watching all the mistakes I have made. When one tired candle makes a cavern of my room, and the ashtray spills over on the page, you flicker above me like a swollen balloon, and the wrought iron fiction of your cage. And it's a long time till morning reconfines you in the bright golden fetters of the day, and you will walk on behind me like a dog on a chain, watching all the mistakes I have made. My poor secret shadow, you are old hate, yet you follow me blindly like a dog on a chain, watching all the mistakes I have made. And it's a long time till morning reconfines you in the bright golden fetters of the day, and you will walk on behind me like a dog on a chain, watching all the mistakes I have made. And you will walk on behind me like a dog on a chain, watching all the mistakes I have made. So when you see Stephen Fearing, say hello for me. I made an album during the pandemic. That was my pandemic project. In a studio in Halifax. We couldn't all get together. There were 18 musicians who played on the project, and we all had to go in ones and twos and record our parts and then fit it all together in the end. And it was a very exciting and satisfying project, although it would have been great if we could all just play together. The record was called Chasing Rabbits, which is my own term for the distraction of songwriting, because when I get a song in my head, I find it very hard to focus on anything else. I would rather chase that rabbit. And they're mostly winter songs. The whole project was kind of winter themed, but this one's just kind of on the fringe of winter. It sort of spans over fall and winter, that kind of late September, fall into wintertime. And it is about a place here in Nova Scotia that I love very much called Lunenburg. Beautiful place on the water. And I had the pleasure of playing a concert there, back in 2017 with Ryan Cook and another fabulous guitarist named Mike T. Kerr. Look him up. He is just a genius. And we played a show in a church, maybe the most beautiful church in Lunenburg, St. John's Anglican. And we were hosted in Lunenburg for the night. We got to spend the night in this beautiful bed and breakfast, but everything about the trip there was so romantic. It was clearly engineered for couples in love. So we went out to dinner, and there were couples all around us enjoying their time together. And then we played the show, the concert. It was date night for a lot of couples sitting in the church pews listening to the music. We went back to the bed and breakfast, and everything there in our separate rooms was engineered for couples. 2 wine glasses and 2 mints on the pillow. And it was such a romantic mood that how could you not write a romantic song, even though we were just all by ourselves there. So here's the song that comes from that. And I recorded this song with some other participants of this concert series, my friends the Bombadils. They play beautifully and sing harmonies on this song, Sarah and Luke. So this is a song called Lunenburg Moon. The church glowing golden, I remember your smile and the echo of footsteps as we met in the aisle, and the music was gentle, but it lifted us high. It was just an old folk song, but it still made me cry. went to a party with some friends down the street. The wine kept on flowing as we followed our feet to a house on the hillside while the town was asleep. Every step on the staircase had a secret to keep. All the words I remember, and I remember the tune at the end of September, and me and you and the Lunenburg moon. And your hand I was holding, my heart skipping beats in the bed of a captain with sails for its sheets. And the room was so quiet, just whispers and waves. In the darkness we drifted, two souls to be saved. All the words I remember, and I remember the tune at the end of September, and me and you and the Lunenburg moon. And now we're far from the harbor, and the ship has sailed on, and the shore winds blow colder the longer you're gone. And I wait by the window, and I watch the snow fly, and you're miles from the ocean with no moon in the sky. All the words I remember, and I remember the tune at the end of September, and me and you and the Lunenburg moon. At the end of September, and me and you and the Lunenburg moon. If you look up that video, you will see Sarah and Luke and I playing in that beautiful church in Lunenburg. But you will also see me fall in love with a cat and a dog and an ice cream cone. I'm going to play a few more songs, maybe 2 or 3. This one is a song that my friend Daniel James McFadgen taught me. We played some shows together when we could earlier this year in Halifax. Daniel's a great songwriter and just released a new single and has an album coming out later. But he taught me this song by Gregory Alan Isaacoff. And the version that we played is borrowed from a group called Mandolin Orange. You can see I've got the capo stacked way up here on the 5th fret. And when Daniel and I played this song together, we borrowed a trick that we've seen used by a group called the Milk Carton Kids, who I love, who are just two male vocalists who sing together and play guitar together. But to change the range of their guitar tones, one of them will play kind of in first position, and the other one will ratchet this capo way up high and play, say if one was playing C down here, the other will play a G formation way up here with the capo on the 5th fret, just to get a different range out of the two guitars, which was something that Ryan Cook and I had to figure out when we were playing together, because we both play fingerstyle guitars. Ryan plays a little differently, which you'll see. He plays more of a Merle Travis style with a thumb pick, kind of keeping that bass going while his other fingers play the rest. And I just use all my fingers, no picks at all. So we kind of cheated by one of us playing steel string and one of us playing a nylon string guitar, and that's how we got two different tones from each other. But for now, I'll play my part, and you'll have to imagine Daniel playing his chords down low for this tune, which is called Amsterdam. Amsterdam she hides, watery eyed, that howling wind, she's waving high, her other hands in mine. She's growing tall and fine. She's got my back. She'll follow me down every street, no matter what my crime. Amsterdam she flies, hoarding the kites, that howling wind, she'll take everything, but she's easy on the eye. Churches and trains, well, they all look the same to me now. They shoot you someplace while we ache to come home somehow. Amsterdam. I'll play you a song that's from not too far from Amsterdam, actually. One more traveling song, another one from Germany. Because when we landed there and were so intimidated by it, we drove through the night to Munich, which was our first concert, our first stop on our German leg of the tour. And we were hosted by a fellow named Michael, who has a little private pub filled with Guinness paraphernalia, which kind of surprised me for a little German pub. But Michael hosted private concerts there, would invite in a whole pile of friends and neighbors. And it was amazing because we played completely unplugged, just acoustic guitars, no microphones or anything, in this room, this pub, that was packed full of people, shoulder to shoulder. And they listened to us play for 3 hours, standing, hanging on every word. And we were quite relieved at that point that they could understand us, or at least humored us and pretended to. But it was extraordinary. And at the end of every song, the room would just burst in applause. And boy, that was a very precious sensation then, and it certainly is now, playing to the silence of a screen. But after that show, Michael took us out for Greek food, which was also kind of strange. So we played in a Irish Guinness pub in Germany and then went out for a Greek meal afterward. And he told us the story of the place that we were billeted in, that in his apartment building, that looked like it barely survived the war. It had this huge spiraling staircase that creaked with every step, totally rickety, and the place had seen some hard times. But this song is about the particular room that we were bunked in for the night. And the song is called Messy, which is the German anglicized word for a hoarder. Messy. Over pale German ale, Michael tells us the tale of the man who had lived one floor down. For 50 long years, no one else ventured near. They walked through the hall, unaware of the squalor that he kept around. Newspapers and bags, wrappers and rags, treasures and trash piled high. A great wall of Germany built from its history, bric-a-brac bricks and the buzzing of flies. All alone in his room, sealed in his tomb, when they finally opened the door. He had died in his chair, 3 days resting there, mountains of memories in scraps on the floor. What makes it so strong? The urge to hold on to things we should really let go. In a one-man museum where people can't see them, the secrets we keep from the neighbors below. And Munich wakes up in the morning and washes its face. And sadness makes marks you can feel in the dark. Fresh paint and plaster are meant to erase. Climbing each flight of the staircase, you might feel the footsteps of those gone before. They're coming and going, the uneasy unknowing of those who have been through the war. uncle leads us upstairs to the room we will share after we've played our concert that night. The boys go out drinking while I lay here thinking, ashamed to feel lonely, I read Truman Capote just to keep on the light. Till I hear them tumbling, laughing and stumbling, mumbling down the cobblestone streets. In just a few hours they'll take their cold showers and put cowboy boots back on their feet. Munich wakes up in the morning and washes its face. But sadness makes marks you can feel in the dark. Fresh paint and plaster are meant to erase. Climbing each flight of the staircase, you might feel the footsteps of those gone before. They're coming and going, the uneasy unknowing of those who have been through the war. They're coming and going, the uneasy unknowing of those who have been through the war. Well, thank you so much for sticking it out to the end of this concert. I know it's not the same as being together, and I wish we could chat and ask questions and get to know each other a bit. But that being said, if there's anything that you'd like to know from me or I can give a hand with, feel free to reach out to me on whatever social platform you use. And I'm really happy to have had the chance to play. I appreciate you sticking out to the end. So you get your gold star tonight. And I hope that you have a great stretch ahead of building your own guitar skills, writing songs if that's your thing, and playing along. Enjoy the rest of this concert series. There are a bunch of friends and musical heroes of mine that are taking part in it, and I feel really lucky to be part. So take care of yourselves. I hope to see you in better days ahead.